All right. Deontay back with Deontay's reviews of these Kountry Wayne skits. So I got a couple of videos to catch up on. And one of the videos that I'm going to do now that we're going to talk about is the skit with Shayla popping up at Picardy's house looking for Anthony because supposedly they got to go to lunch. And I swear, that Shayla, she just so conniving, she's so disingenuous, and her body language tends to tell on her a lot. And it seems like everybody that she talks to, they just, for whatever reason, can't see the shade that she gives in her body language, her tone of voice, and all of those things. So the skit starts out, they greet each other. Shayla pulls up looking for Anthony, and then she's like, oh, you know, PR, do you always look this good every single day? So now, you know, she feels some kind of way because Anthony been staying at PR's house. He don't even stay there every night, because sometimes we get skits at 11:30. He at Shayla's house in the bed. They get ready to go to bed. And then just these random skits throughout the week, maybe once or twice throughout the week. These days, he at PR's house, he walking in, or he at PR's house at some time of night at 11:30. So she like, well, you looking good. You look this good every day? Because now she insecure. She always been insecure, but now she asking that question not because she's saying, oh, you just looking good effortlessly every day. Her concern is you looking this good around her man, Anthony, every day. You know, just kind of cabinet put together, and she is asking questions like, oh, do you have a man? You know, and she kind of mentioned it like once or twice throughout this kid, like, oh, do you got a man? Where your man at? Because my man at your house, and you know, and you looking this good in front of my man. That's really what she getting at. And then so Shayla starts asking questions. She asks a question. She says, has Anthony always been this green? Now, for those that don't know what green is, green means gullible, naive, easy to pull one over on. You know, in other words, has he always been this stupid? That's really what she was asking. And so when she said, has Anthony always been this green, PR was like, what you mean? What you trying to say? You know, like, green. And then she telling them, she says, I wouldn't say it's green, he's been green, but he's a smart man. And so if he does certain things, it's because, you know, he's just trying to figure out how he can work the situation or work his angle. You know, he knows he's in the jam, so he's going to do certain things and act a certain way to get the result that he wants to get out of the situation. And I guess I can appreciate PR saying that, because she's acknowledging, or not even really acknowledging, but she's really saying in so many words that the situation that he's in now with the whole Amber and Shayla situation, he's doing certain things to kind of work the situation to get the result that he wants to get out of it. And even though she hasn't fully called him on it, because see, her and Dalen, PR and Dalen have this mild yet passive way of holding Anthony accountable. They don't really hold him accountable, but they do it in such a passive way. And Shayla asked him about if she has a man, you know, and asked, well, where's Anthony? And she's like, oh, well, he's out jogging. You know, he's jogging. I think this round of time he's supposed to be out there with Ro jogging. And she like, you know, he always putting himself in front of everybody else, in front of us, in front of his family, and all of this stuff. It is amazing how delusional she is, where she really has convinced herself that Anthony is so exclusive to her, you know. And then Shayla makes little comments like, yeah, we got to get him out of your house, yeah, because, you know, he's not gonna always be here, and all this kind of stuff. Listen, Anthony ain't always in one spot. He at your house, he at your apartment, he at PR's when he feel like being there, and he's at he with Rolanda in the mornings, every morning. Listen, Anthony is a community man. He everybody man, so he ain't exclusively your man, and he ain't gonna ever exclusively be your man. Okay, so I wish she would just get that through her head, but she's just so delusional. And she makes the comment that we're gonna get my man out of your house. But the thing about this whole skit is you can kind of tell that Shayla is asking certain questions because she trying to get to the bottom of this whole why Anthony is staying at PR's house type thing. And here's my thing. Here's my take on it. Shayla knows what she's doing. Shayla's very calculating. She's very manipulative. She's disingenuous. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to read through her to get her angle when she asks certain questions or when she's coming at you a certain kind of way or anything like that. You have to, you can't let Shayla, not for a second should you allow yourself to believe that Shayla is genuine in any way, shape, or form. But here's what I think after watching this skit. I think, here's my theory. You know, I like to have my theory. I think that after this interaction that Picardy has with Shayla and the specific questions that she asked Shayla, or that she asked Picardy, that Shayla asked Picardy, Picardy there's going to be a follow-up skit, I think, with Picardy and Anthony. And she's going to tell Anthony, you know, Shayla came by here the other day and she was asking these questions. Have you always been this green? So now, what I think now, Picardy is starting to look at Shayla differently than she did before. I think that Shayla's disingenuous was so obvious in this skit where it's now raising questions for Picardy about Shayla's intent with Anthony. And she's going to start suggesting passively and making certain comments to Anthony about Shayla to kind of see if he's aware about her ill intent and to see his awareness of Shayla. But I don't know. Drop it in the comments what y'all think. Hit like, tag, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Deonte Carroll, DonceCarroll, all one word, no apostrophe. Comment. Let me know what y'all think.